Okay, and we're back. So, continuing my conversation from the previous video, I think the two kind of interesting movies in good ways that are actually somewhat decent um, video game adaptations, I have to say, first of all, is an ironic one. Mortal Kombat. The first Mortal Kombat movie, let's not talk about Annihilation. Well, the first Mortal Kombat movie was just kind of. It was fun. It was fun. It was fun. The only thing that a lot of people kind of criticize about it is that it didn't. It was what, PG-13, so there was like. You can't really depict fatalities in a movie like that, a movie that's rated PG-13. Although now I have to say, these days, PG-13 seems to be getting away with stuff that only R-rated movies could get away with back in the day. But that's another discussion entirely. But Mortal Kombat to me was fun. The music was awesome. And the other movie that I think was really decent was Silent Hill. I've not seen Revelations, so I can't really comment on that. All I can say is that as soon as I saw the trailer for Revelations, I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead and pass on this because this looks really stupid. The first Silent Hill, to me, and there's a lot of people that didn't like the ending, how it ended, and I get it. But you can see that the guy actually played the game. And that might not count for much, but considering that the other 90% of people that make video game based movies probably haven't even played the game, they just kind of read like Cliff's Notes or whatever, read like a quick summary of whatever game it was that they were trying to cash in on. So that goes a long way. And I really liked the first Silent Hill movie. There was like little details here and there that were just kind of like nice nods to fans of the series, and kudos to them for that. I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I don't really know what other video game based movies are going to be coming out. I don't know if there's going to be like a Metal Gear Solid movie coming. I don't know. I haven't really been keeping up with that recently. Just in general, I've not really been keeping up with a lot of video game based stuff. A lot of people will kind of sit and ask me, "Oh, hey, Julie, are you gonna get this game or are you gonna get that game?" And I'm like, guys. First of all, you know that I'm only gonna play Resident Evil. you know, like I'm just gonna play retro stuff. It's very rare when I get excited about a modern game. Very rare. Because I'm not gonna. I need something that's, I need something more substantial than really nice graphics. And I need something more substantial than, hey, here's this game that, has a lot of action or whatever, but when you actually get right down to the gameplay, it's kind of a no-brainer. Like, it's an insult to my intelligence. I don't have to think about anything, and I can just play the game. The campaign is, 3 hours long? And I'm like, wait a second. We went from PlayStation 1 games where that was the average time, but the replay values for these games were, like, astounding. No DLC bullcrap or anything like that. To now, what is it? This was 1995, so like 20 years later, something like that. We're back to the 3 hour crap again, but this time you don't even get the full 3 hours because you have to pay to unlock the full game. I don't know, have we really come as far as we think we've come in terms of video games? And so yes, welcome to Yawn, which I don't know why his name is Yawn. And we do the little dance. Little tango here. Snake tango. Actually, that sounded... I should probably start writing dirty novels because I can come up with names. I thought I was doing a decent job of dodging, but not. Exercise some caution here. Oops. I accidentally did. I was so anxious to kill this thing that I just kind of shot 2 extra grenade rounds, and then I realized it was already leaving. Whoops. I really hope that doesn't come back to bite me, honestly. Should go crawl in there, see where he's going. That's what I mean. I think for now, for now I'm just kind of adopting the strategy of sticking with the grenade rounds. I'm gonna hold on to the goal is for me to hold on to the acid rounds, which I think are the most powerful rounds, until I deal with the hunters later on in the game. We'll see how that goes. I try to use the shotgun for the hunters, but that almost never ends well for me. So I'd rather be safe than sorry. And by the way, going back to this whole Chris versus Jill thing, like I said, Chris to me gets an unfair disadvantage. He really doesn't get much help in his endeavor. Like, look at this. Jill's poisoned, and somebody, presumably Barry, finds her, brings her here to the save room, and heals her too. But no such luck for Chris. Although I don't know if there are some circumstances under which Jill would have to run and get her own serum. I think there's a certain sequence of events that, if you follow it in a certain way, there's a different outcome. For example, if I'm not mistaken, if you find Forrest's body first, before going to that shotgun room, where the ceiling trap room, I think what winds up happening is that you'll see Barry there with Forrest's body. You get a whole set of dialogue there, and I think Barry will no longer be there to help you with the shotgun. So you better have the broken shotgun, otherwise you get Jill minced meat, I guess. So this is now 4 out of 4 crests, so we're just about ready to head to the guardhouse for now. And yes, I think you noticed by now that I've completely abandoned this idea of organizing the inventory. But the thing is, I can't help it, because this game doesn't combine same items. So it's rather annoying. One other game that I'm very curious about, that was the source of inspiration for this game, for this series in general, is, what is it? Sweet Home? And now for the life of me, I can't even remember if it was only a Japanese game or if it was released in English as well. I'm not sure. But it looks really cool. And if you guys have not heard it, I would say check it out. I've seen some parts of it, so I have a basic idea of what the premise is and what the story is, and there's a lot of inspiration for this game you can see in it. A lot of people, will say Alone in the Dark was kind of the game that sort of started up the genre, but I think there were some other games too that are credited with that. But I think Sweet Home was really the big source of inspiration for this game. I think, as a matter of fact, I don't know if I read this right, but apparently the person who wound up becoming the creator for the series, was approached by Capcom. I think he was like a college student or something like that. He was approached by Capcom. He started working for Capcom, and then Capcom first tasked him with making a spiritual successor to Sweet Home, and that's why we have Resident Evil here. And I'm pretty sure that's why it's set in a mansion. And of course, the story is actually very different. There's a little bit more, if I'm not mistaken, I think there's a little more of a supernatural element to Sweet Home. I don't really remember the precise story, and I don't really want to spoil it for anybody who's looking to see it or to play it eventually. But I guess that was a good time to check my gun. No, I'm just kidding. Sometimes I'm just kind of too fast for my own good. And the thing is that for some reason I find that the controls in this game are not as responsive as they are in the upcoming games, like in the following games. wish there was a stalker type enemy in this game, but that was obviously not the case until the second game. And you can tell they really liked that idea because then they did it again in the second. Excuse me, I'm sorry, in the third Resident Evil game. Which, wouldn't that be sweet if they decided to make that in HD as well? Kind of an HD remake of it. By the way, I really don't understand the point of HD remakes of Code Veronica and Resident Evil 4. I mentioned it in my Code Veronica Let's Play, and I'll probably say it again in my RE4 Let's Play whenever I get to that. But those two, did they actually call them HD remakes? Because I'm pretty sure that they just look like freaking ports. I didn't really see much of a difference. And I didn't really see much of a point, to be perfectly honest. And the thing is, I guess we, as Resident Evil fans, were spoiled by the fact that we had a lovely remake, not HD, but a lovely remake of this game. And that was a remake, okay? That had new stuff in it, new puzzles, new graphics, new enemies even. When I think of a remake, that's what I think of when I think of a remake. So don't sit there and tell me that the stuff we got on the PS3 and the Xbox 360 is what passes for a remake. I don't think so. I will not accept that. By the way, I kind of am always nervous about that part, and right here I was kind of just thinking I should have saved, because I can't even tell you how many times these two dogs, if you're very unlucky, what'll wind up happening is that the dogs will get you in a loop. One dog will bite you, and it takes you, about a second or so to... I'm just using the radio.
What the hell? Is nobody out there?
Brad, this is Jill.
This is Brad. Stars Alpha Team. Bravo Team. It doesn't matter. Anybody answer me.
Brad? Brad!
Well, that was significant, but getting back to this, there was at least one time that I played this part and I thought for sure I was gonna die, and I was so pissed. But Jill, I got into a cycle where one dog would attack, Jill would take some time to recover, and by the time she recovered and I was ready to aim, the other dog bit me again. So I had no chance to actually fight the dogs. They just continued to do that, and I was just like, oh, come on, this is ridiculous. So, but luckily I actually got out of the room. I had to run out of the room. To me, that was like the only way I could survive that. I did, and then I came back to kind of reset their positions. And thankfully I was able to make it through that. But so that part is kind of, that kind of makes me a little nervous, that part right there. And then I don't know if there's another part that's kind of similar to that later, but by the way, I love this part right here. Now watch this. So all I'm doing is opening up that gate so that I can expose this bridge. And I love how they took the time to make this into CG. Like I'm sure there are other parts in this game that could have been, they would have been better candidates for CG, but I don't know. I don't know why they chose this particular scene. I don't get it. Jill would have so busted her ankle right there, but hey. This other survival horror game called D, I don't know if you guys have ever played it, but you should definitely play it if you haven't had a chance already, and you're like me, you like playing classic PlayStation 1 games. But there are parts of that game that kind of remind me of this part of Resident Evil 1. Kind of the outside part, right down to the noises too. It's kind of similar, what they were trying to do. And I have no idea if this game was released before that game or the other way around. I believe it was also released in 1995. Did you see that part? He didn't even hit me. That's absolutely ridiculous. But I just played that game the other day, like sometime last year. So as recently as that, I heard of it when I was younger, but I never got it. So then I played it, and when I first played it, I didn't even realize what the premise was in terms of the gameplay. You can only beat the game in 2 hours, so there you go. There's your length of time with the game. And you cannot save. You cannot pause either. And I'm like, that's great. So I'm supposed to sit down for 2 hours. And if you're like me, I like to drink water. I get thirsty a lot. So that's not very good for someone like me. That's just not practical. I hate games where you're not allowed to pause. And I know a lot of online games are like that. So it's just kind of like, I literally have to like back out if I'm playing like Call of Duty or any other online game versus frequent matches. I literally have to like step outside or back out of the lobby completely, because next thing you know, I'm gonna be my team will be losing. I'm giving myself a lot of credit here. No, I will contribute about like 20 deaths for my team. So yeah, I kind of made a mistake here. I pushed it way too close to the wall. For some reason, I thought there was like a second hallway. Just got a little confused. So this is the guardhouse, which used to confuse me a lot when I wasn't as familiar with the game. For some reason, I guess it's because the doors look alike or something like that. So it led me to be a little perplexed. I just realized that is actually a gargoyle statue. That's how observant I am. All right. So let's see what's in here for a moment. And oh, this works. I have some extra grenade rounds right there. And there you go. I have not read a good Resident Evil fan fiction in a long time. I have a few favorite ones, like, well, guilty pleasure again, but I kind of like the ones where they sort of pair up Wesker and Sheva. It's just my preference. I know it's not a likely thing, like people are not fans of that kind of thing, but just because Wesker's so evil or whatever. But I don't know, I like it because Wesker's hot. I mean, what do you want me to do? You want me to not like Wesker? Like Jesus. but I haven't read one in a long while, and like I said, I understand it's not a popular. People are not gonna write many of those because the more obvious choice is Chris and Sheva, just because of how they were paired in RE5. But still, any fan fiction writers out there, let me know. I implore you to start writing some what is it, Shesker? Is that the term for it? If you could write some Shesker for me, I would be very grateful. So I'll go ahead and save here because I don't want to fight the snake again by any means. Not really sure how many saves I'm going to have at the end of this game, but it is what it is. I don't think this game gives you a grade, by the way. It tells you how much time you took, which is going to be a crazy time because there's a lot of pause time between videos. Because my software takes a while to kind of catch up to the live feed. Don't ask. So you'll see it's like 50 hours over the time. But let's see what's in here. Aha! There is a zombie in here. At least one. Is this the door to the lollipop world? Look how small it is. Starting to run a little low on handgun bullets, but I think I should be alright. Oh, look at that nasty infected water. Yeah, Jill, just reach your hand right in there. You go, girl. Or she could do it with her mind, apparently. Alright. Get this key. And until next time.